Hey, I'm Liv, welcome to my channel Endless Pages and welcome to today's video, which is my November TBR. Hey, welcome to my November TBR. So this is going to be more of a tentative TBR like last month. None of these books are set as must-reads. This is because I'm participating kind of in two readathons this month. One of them is the Get a Clue readathon, which is run by Rainy Blue Reads. This is a readathon inspired by the board game Clue. So basically, like, there's a bunch of different teams and you join a team and Rainy will randomly drop a prompt based on one of the rooms from Clue. So you will have to read a book that fits that prompt. You don't know what the prompts are before the readathon, they just kind of drop at random times. So obviously I can't set a TBR for that because I don't know what the prompts are. I have decided to join the green team, which is hosted, I guess, and run by Merv from Reading with Merv and Nell. So I'm joining that team, so I can't give you a TBR for that readathon because I don't know the prompts yet. And the other readathon I'm participating in November, hopefully, is the Australian readathon. This is run by Mel from a book fiend named Mel. Obviously, I'm Australian and it's always a goal to try and read more Australian written books and support Australian authors. So I don't have a set TBR for this readathon either. Even though you can do a set TBR for this one, there's a bingo board, but I'm just saying I want to read at least one Australian book because Mel's like, even if you read one Aussie book, that counts. You pass the readathon. So I have a couple of Aussie options that I'm going to talk you through as well. So basically I'm participating in the Clue readathon, which I'm really scared to participate in. Not that I'm someone that needs to have like my TBR planned and organised. I'm not that kind of person. I'm the most disgustingly disorganised person you'll ever meet. But it is still a little bit intimidating going into a readathon where I have no idea what I'm in for. I don't know when the prompts will drop. I don't know how long I'll have to read each book. So that's a little bit scary, but fun. And yeah, let's get into the books. The first book I want to talk to you guys about is Ace of Shades, and this is by Amanda Foody. Can you guys tell that I'm out of practice? This is a young adult book that I have been wanting to read for a while now, and I feel like I'm just going to have the best time with this. I feel like this book was written for me, so I want to read it before the end of the year. And I still can't describe the plot, even though I've mentioned it in several videos. This is set in the city called the city, like nicknamed the City of Sin, which is very much like a casino-run city. Gangs infest the streets, casino families reign, and secrets hide in every shadow. We have our main character, Anna, I think that's how you say it, and she's like a proper young lady. And no lady would visit this City of Sin, which is called New Reigns, but her mother goes missing, and Anane must leave her finishing school and her reputation behind to follow her mother's trail to the city where no one survives uncorrupted. We also have this guy called Levi, who is Anae's only lead to finding her mother. Levi is not the gentleman she expected. He's a street lord and a con man running a rapidly unraveling investment scheme. Wow, say that 5 times quickly. Anae offers compensation. However, this could be the solution to all of Levi's problems. As Anae unearths an impossible secret about her past, Levi's enemies catch up to them, ensnaring them in a vicious execution game where the players always lose. To save him, Anae will need to surrender herself to the city and she'll need to play. Like, this sounds so fun. I love it. Like, maybe very morally grey guy corrupts a girl. Like, yes please. That sounds so fun. It sounds really fun and fast-paced, and yeah, I feel like I'm going to eat this up. Next up, a book that I thought would be very fitting for the Clue readathon, and hopefully it meets some kind of prompt, and that is The Inheritance Games by Jennifer Lynn Barnes. It's also the team colour green, so you know. This is another young adult book. This is like a mystery kind of book. We have our main character, Avery, who has a plan in place for surviving high school, getting a scholarship, setting up her future. But then this billionaire called Tobias Hawthorne dies and leaves his entire fortune to her but she's like never met him, doesn't know who this billionaire is. The only catch is that she has to move into his mansion, and his mansion is full of like riddles and passageways and secrets. But also living in the mansion is the billionaire's like 4 grandsons and like some of his other family. And these boys have all grown up with the expectation one day they would inherit the money. So the heir apparent, Grayson, is convinced that Avery is a con woman and he's determined to take her down. But his brother Jameson views her as the grandfather's last hurrah, a twisted riddle, a puzzle to be solved. Caught in a world of wealth and privilege with danger around every turn, Avery will have to play the game herself just to survive this twisty, thrilling new mystery from the beloved author Jennifer Lynn Barnes. I don't know why I read that bit. This sounds fun. It sounds fast-paced. I love a good mystery, good riddle. Apparently this gets compared to Knives Out, which is a movie that I absolutely adore. So, yeah, I'm sure this mystery book will fit some kind of prompt in the Clue Readathon, because very much suits the vibe. And it's just been sitting on my shelf for a very long time, so it's time to give this one a go. Next potential read for November is Jutsu Kaisen by Gigi Akutami. This is the first book in the JJ Kaisen manga series. This is just about a boy. He's an average teenager, but he's really strong, and all the sports teams at his school want him to join, but instead he would rather hang out with his school's kind of occult research club. And then one day they get their hands on a sealed curse object, and little do they know the terror that they're going to unleash with this sealed object. I've had a flick through and I've seen clips of the anime. This looks right up my alley, and I feel like this is going to be one I'm gonna love. And yeah, I need to read more manga, so perfect. Another potential read is Drowning by TJ Newman. This sounds really good. I don't know, I just love like trapped kind of thrillers, if you know what I mean, like trapped on a mountain or trapped in a house or like trapped in a confined kind of space. So this is about this flight that crashes into the Pacific Ocean, and then during the evacuation, I think the engine explodes and the plane is flooded. Those still alive are forced to close the doors, but it's too late. The plane sinks to the bottom with 12 passengers trapped inside. Amongst these passengers are engineer Will Kent and his 11-year-old daughter Shannon. They're waist deep in water and fighting for their lives. Their only chance of survival is an elite rescue team on the surface, led by professional diver Chris Kent, Shannon's mother and Will's soon-to-be ex-wife, who must work together with Will to find a way to save their daughter and rescue the passengers from the sealed airplane, which is now teetering on the edge of an undersea cliff. There is not much time, there is even less air. This sounds so claustrophobic and like anxiety inducing, so the second I saw the blurb of this book I was like, oh, I have to get this. This sounds so scary, and yeah, something about being trapped in a confined space is just so fun to read. Like, it's terrifying, and the thought of it is like, no, I would not want to be in that situation. I'd rather be dead than live through that. But yeah, it makes you feel anxious and trapped while you're reading it, and it's just like such a bit of a like almost like an adrenaline rush reading it. So I'm really excited to read this one too. So yeah, I've been meaning to get to it for a while, although I am going on a plane next month, so maybe the earlier I read this the better, so I can forget about it and not scare myself while I'm on a 10-hour flight. I really hope that this microphone is not picking up the mower happening right outside. But anyway, let's jump into some potential reads for the Australian Readathon. These are all Australian crime. It's a genre that I'm really loving from what I've slightly tasted of it so far, and that's all I really want to read when I think of Australian work, is Australian crime. So this first book is actually a recommendation from the host of the Readathon herself, Mel. I think I was talking about in some of my reading sprints a while ago was a book I was reading, Chasing the Boogeyman by Richard Chismar. Well, amazing book. But anyway, yeah, and Mel was like, you should read this book, it's giving me similar vibes, and she really liked this one. This one is The Bluffs by Kyle Perry. This is about a group of school students that go missing in Tasmania's Great Western Tiers. And the people of Limestone Creek are immediately on alert because 3 decades ago 5 young girls disappeared in the area of those dangerous bluffs, and the legend of the hungry man still haunts locals to this day. Now authorities can determine that the teacher Eliza Ellis was knocked unconscious, so someone on the mountain was up to foul play. Jordan Murphy, the local dealer and father of missing student Jasmine, instantly becomes the prime suspect. But Detective Con Badenhurst knows that in a town of this size with corrupt cops, small town politics and a YouTube sensation, everyone is hiding something. And bluffing is second nature. Get it? The bluffs? Yeah, I'm sorry. Anyway. When a body is found mauled at the bottom of the cliff, suspicion turns to a wild animal. But that can't really explain why she was discovered barefoot, her shoes at the top of the cliff, laces neatly tied. So, yeah, this sounds really good. Like I said, want to discover great Aussie crime because I think that's what we kind of really known for in writing at the moment is crime. So, yeah, I hope I like this one. I'm sure I will if Mel recommends it, like, great taste. So, yeah, I think I'll like this one. Next up is Scrublands by Chris Hammer. This is the first book in the Martin Scarsden series. So this book is everywhere. I work in a library and this author, I'm like surrounded by him all day, every day. I see him on the pick list, the reservation list. I see him in book club kits. I see him on people's accounts. People are talking about this author. Like, I feel like I just see this name every day at work. So I need to know for myself, is he worth the hype? Like, there's a lot of hype around this guy. Obviously, this is Australian, this is crime, and I believe this has just got a TV adaptation. I think I saw the trailer the other day and I was like, oh shit, this does look good. So this is set in a Australian country town that's really suffering through drought. And one day this really young priest, I believe, opens fire on his congregation, killing 5 parishioners before being shot dead himself. And then we follow a journalist, Martin Scarsden, who arrives in the town where this happened to investigate and write a feature, on the anniversary of the tragedy. But the more he talks to locals, the more he kind of learns about the lead up to the shooting, and things don't really kind of add up, and he doesn't think it fits with the accepted version of his events. His own newspaper reported in an award-winning investigation. So he can't really ignore his kind of gut feeling and his doubts, nor the urgings of some of the locals to unearth the real reason behind the priest's deadly rampage. So yeah, I think it's about this journalist discovering what actually led to this shooting and what led to this priest shooting his congregation. This sounds really good. It's something about and it sounds like this journalist has kind of got some shit of his past. I don't know, troubled male journalists in Australian crime stories. It's just a formula that seems to work. I'm thinking of the Aaron Falk series. So I'm really, really, really excited. I think this is maybe my most anticipated read in November. I feel like this is going to be fantastic, and I hope it's not overhyped, and I hope I love it. It sounds like I'm going to love it. When I was watching the trailer, I was like, oh, this looks so good. I kind of want to watch this now. But I was like, no, read the book first. So yeah, I think this is going to be a good read. Speaking of Aaron Falk, my third potential option for the Australian Readathon is, again, Aussie crime, The Exiles by Jane Harper, who is now one of my favourite authors after this year. This is the third and final book in the Aaron Falk trilogy. You might know the first book, The Dry, especially if you're Australian. That was made into a film. Anyway, Jane Harper is an exquisite writer. This is the third book in her series. Basically, the Aaron Falk series is one detective, and each book he follows a new investigation, but it goes on one after the other, kind of timeline-wise. This final one is set in wine country, I believe. Yeah, South Australian wine country. At a busy festival site on a warm spring night, a baby lies alone in her pram, her mother having vanished into the crowds. A year on, Kim's absence casts a long shadow as her friends and loved ones gather deep into Australian wine country to welcome a new addition to the family. Aaron Falk, federal investigator, is joining the celebration, but as he soaks up life in the lush valley, he begins to suspect this tight-knit group may be more fractured than it seems. As hidden truths slowly emerge, Falk faces the darkest of questions. The Dry and Forces of Nature are both fantastic books, as well as her other book I've read, The Lost Man, which is my favourite of hers. So I kind of scared to finish the Aaron Falk series and sad. I don't want it to be over, but at the same time I'm like having withdrawals from her writing. Like I need to read one of her books again. So maybe this I'll read in November. December? November. What month is it? I don't know. Yeah, I'm hoping to pick this one up because I had to wait a while before I picked it up because I wanted it in this edition, and then I waited and waited and waited, and I was like, oh, finally it's in the small paperback, and I haven't picked it up, and I bought it months ago, so I don't know. I gotta read this. I'm a mess. So those are the 7-ish books that I can hopefully get to in November. Knowing me though, I will probably come back and say I read none of these, just because I know myself pretty well. But yeah, I'm hoping some of these meet prompts for Get a Clue. If I could get an Australian and Get a Clue prompt together, that would be lovely. Probably not going to happen, but you never know. I might have a lucky month. Let me know in the comments below, are you participating in the Get a Clue readathon? Are you participating in the Australian readathon? What readathons are you participating in November, and what is a priority read for you? As always, all my social media links are in the description below, as well as the 2 readathons that I told you about today. The announcement videos will be linked in case you want to join in too. Thank you so much for watching. Give this video a like if you enjoyed, and subscribe if you'd like to see more of my content. I will see you in whatever the hell I post next. Bye!